Hi, is there anyone that can tell me what in the actual fuck this is? Hang on one second. I gotta go check literally all of my closets for this man. Oh my god, like who, wow, what even, I mean, I'm kind of impressed. For those of you like me who live under rocks and perhaps don't know, this is actually taken from the Undertale soundtrack. The track itself is called Fallen Down, and it has been fully and thoroughly repurposed as my reaction to that information. Thank you, that one guy.tt, for your valiant service. But since we're talking about insanely creepy things, let's talk about what exactly this song is. Musically speaking, Fallen Down is in fact a very major sounding track, but yet we hear it almost as a spooky, mysterious, unsettling type of sound. Well, of course, that is in part due to the muffled nature of the synthesizers being used, but its musical content actually suggests that although it is major, and I'll explain exactly how that is, it is also somewhat sentimental and almost creepy. Now, those don't necessarily sound like two words that go together, but hear me out. Now already, when I play those notes on the piano without the weird synthesized, distorted voices singing it, it sounds less creepy. And it does start to take on a little bit of that sort of sentimental feeling. And the reason for that is primarily the usage of seventh chords, but there's one specific chord that helps the whole thing come together. If we break down what's going on harmonically in this piece, we get the following. The very first chord is D flat major 7. We literally outline that with, here in our left hand, we're playing just a D flat major triad, and our melody is the third to the major 7th. Easy enough. Our next chord, we go down to our 6. Why is it the 6th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a 6 chord, and normally the 6 chord would be minor. There is our 6th chord. Only this time, we've flipped it major and given it a dominant, given it that flat 7th sound. So we're going now from, traditionally in jazz harmony, we might expect to hear next simply a 2-5-1. But that's not quite what we get here. We go from here to here. Our next chord is G flat major 7. And the thing that I believe wraps this whole section with a nice bow and really gives it that sentimental feeling, which when we add in the distorted vocal synthesizers, kind of adds the creepiness factor in as well, is the fact that we have this next chord. You guys know what this is. We talk about this on the channel all the time. It's one of my favorite chords in the universe, and it's minor 4. Watch this. We're in D flat, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our G flat. We were just on G flat major 7. And then we go, whoo, that's so good. It's always so good. That minor chord is just so beautiful, and it gives us this feeling of, oh, it's this almost painfully beautiful, because it gives us this feeling of like, you know what I mean? It's such a gorgeous sound, and it's used in so many great pieces, including a lot of the film scores that we like to talk about on this channel a bunch. So that minor 4 chord really helps us bring this whole thing around. And then we're back to our 1 chord. And then we simply set up the return to the top. Now that is where the meme ends. And of course the song goes on to additional sections, and it's very beautiful, and it has that sort of low melody. very nice melody, and it really helps to add that next level to this piece. According to one of the comments on the actual recording of this piece, they say that this song is truly unique because it is seemingly designed to make you feel a longing, a need to regain what you once lost long ago, but now it is no more than a faded memory that you can only feel in short, fleeting moments. It's a simple yet amazing song. I think that's a really, really fantastic way to put it. And to me, I think it really speaks to the harmony that we've just broken down here. That minor 4 chord is so effective at making us feel that sense of longing of something that we lost long ago. It really does feel that way. And it's why it's used in so many romantic or even heart-wrenching parts of films. It's just so effective at conveying the feeling that we're supposed to be feeling in that moment. Now, it's even spookier when you add in the context of the game. It's used in many different contexts and it's played at various speeds throughout the game, which is a very common technique in video game music and film music for that matter. But the one thing that most of these usages share is that it's the ending of an interaction with another character, and kind of an interesting one. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and explain the entire game of Undertale, but the usage of this song would absolutely tug at the heartstrings, and it is applied in a way that its harmony would suggest. In many ways, you could look at it as a goodbye, and evidently Fallen Down, the term itself refers to monsters in the game in a comatose state before death. So yeah, it's maybe a little creepy, and I think the usage of the exact voices and their distorted nature with the synthesizers really helps paint exactly that picture. And another thing that you might notice if I sit here and attempt to do this, let's try this. That the piano and the recording are not perfectly in tune, and that's because this whole thing was detuned from A440 Hertz, which is what you're hearing here, down to A431. So it automatically feels a little bit off from what we're typically used to hearing. Now, if you have perfect pitch, you notice that right away. But if you don't, like me, you maybe just notice that it has a bit of extra darkness or sadness. All of this is just brilliant, simplistic writing that allows this piece to really sound exactly how it is intended to be applied in the game. And just to prove how well this was actually done specifically for the game, I'm actually gonna play a little bit of this as if it were just a tune with chord changes. And you'll notice it still sounds somewhat maybe sentimental and maybe even a little sad, but it definitely doesn't have the darkness and oddness or creepiness when we think of how it's applied in the game and the fact that it's detuned about 9 cents. Check this out. And at the basis of it, the harmony is really simple. D flat major 7, B flat 7, G flat major 7, G flat minor major 7, back to D flat, and just a 5 chord to lead back into it. That's it. That's all that's going on here harmony-wise. It's really simple, but it's just so well made, and the usage of the weird sounds and then detuning at 9 cents adds to this mystery of it, and especially in its application within the storyline of the game, it winds up sounding almost creepy in a weird sense, but then oddly sentimental, and I think it's a track that people come back to years after playing the game, and unfortunately now as a result of this meme, and they wind up reminding themselves just how good this piece is. And of course, those of you who know the game know that this piece was written by Toby Fox, who was responsible for the entirety of the game. Really an incredible achievement and fantastic writing. Hey, and by the way, understanding all of this stuff that's going on harmonically and then being able to actually apply it and play it on the piano, that's not stuff that's outside of your grasp. Some of it might just look like it's just happening, and honestly, that's just years and years of practice, but the fundamentals and the basics of it, that's all stuff that anybody, including you, can learn. And if you've ever been interested in diving into the piano, I built an entire course explicitly for that. It's still, to date, the biggest project we've ever undertaken, and it remains the biggest product available on the Cornell Music Academy, and that is the Intro to Piano course. If you want to be able to play stuff like this and want to be able to read music like you've seen on this video and just be able to sit down, read it, play it, whatever, play your favorite songs, etc., this is the course that's going to take you from not knowing anything about the piano to getting you started on your journey to being able to play anything you want. We're going to give you a set of tools and start you out with just understanding this instrument at all, understanding how it's laid out. And the best part about it is that right now, for a very, very limited time, we're doing something crazy here. We're going to make it 50% off. But I believe that makes it $69. Nice. You don't need a code or anything like that. We're just going to make that course 50% off. I don't know for how long, probably very, very short amount of time, maybe just a week. So take advantage of that while you can. There's a link in the description. You don't need a code, don't worry about it. Just click the link, check the course out. That's the best way you can support the channel, because every time we talk about this stuff, all of our content gets claimed. But if you want to support the channel and you want to learn how to play this instrument while you do so, that's the best way you can do it. And I really, really appreciate your support. So thank you so much, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything else from Undertale that you would like me to dive into and break down, or if there's any other video game music in general that you're dying for me to take a look at. The list is long and it grows every day, but that's thanks to your input. So let me know in those comments below. And once again, thank you so much for checking this video out. Be sure to check out the latest episode of Odd Time. There's a link right after this. Bye.
Other music theories have been concocted from these experiments, such as the concept of chord progressions. Even though chord progressions don't exist, we as a society tolerate this theory so that musicians can feel good about themselves and say random numbers like 1, 6, 2, while their friends are trying to casually listen to their Spotify playlist.